Hey guys, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming. If you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Tennessee Shoichi's Path. So guys, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Please sit back and enjoy for the next 18 minutes will entertain you, and let's jump right in. Alarm Chen, you are up, and let's go. Okay. Alright, I'll be out of the house in 10, so you'll have to look up after you leave. Got it. Sometime later, Shoichi shows up to pick me up around the agreed-upon time, barely even saying a word as he does so. After only a few curt answers to my greeting, I decided to mostly follow behind him in silence, mulling over the questions I wanted to ask. He looks really tense for some reason. Things had been pretty nice with us during the rest of the week. Even our argument earlier was resolved and wasn't even an issue anymore. Did something happen to get him like this? Shuichi? Yeah? Is everything okay? Yeah. Did you really just answer me with the same word twice? You look a bit off today. Your face is scrunched up in a weird way. The husky stops in his tracks, turning around to face me with a sigh. Is it really? For sure. Is everything alright? It's hard to explain. I did a thing, and I need some support to deal with it. Oh my god, you didn't kill someone, right? That's not what this is, right? What? No, of course not. Why would you even think that? Just checking. Your imagination really concerns me sometimes. I can honestly agree with that. I've been giving what you said to me some thought. Oh, really? What about it exactly? Just everything. About meeting Mom again, reconnecting. Really? That's great! If you say so, it's hard. I tried talking to Dad yesterday. I showed him my grades, how well I did on my exams and all that. I told him that I could do that well despite doing volleyball on the side. I asked him if I could still keep it up. I want to be hopeful that he said yes, but your face doesn't really give me much hope. Oh, Shoichi. If we weren't in the middle of a busy street right now, I'd give you a hug. He was happy that I got good grades. He complimented me a bit, which is rare, even pet me a little. I think he actually considered letting me for a second, but... Volleyball isn't a good extracurricular for a resume. If I have time to do that, then I should be looking for something more productive. Are you kidding me? It's not like he doesn't have a point, I guess. I just hate it. As you should. He's being ridiculous. We can get in an argument now about that later. I really don't want to talk about it right now. I had to give some context. Context for what? The whole thing it made me decide that I really wanted to do it. I kept hearing what you told me over and over in my head, and I thought that maybe... Oh, a little noise outside. I asked Atoka to set things up for me. I couldn't bring myself to just message Mom directly after all this time. It felt too impersonal, and I definitely couldn't drop by unannounced. She told me Mom was on shift yesterday, so we decided I'd visit today instead. I know it's kind of a weird thing to ask. I know you'll probably feel awkward being there for the whole thing too, but as I was preparing myself for it this morning, I started to panic. I need you there with me, you. I don't think I'll have the courage to go over without you there to give me emotional support. I'm scared. I'm really scared she'll be mad at me again. What? There's no way she'll be mad at you. I already told you that. I hope so. I really do. I place a hand on his shoulder, looking up at the goof with a smile on my face, trying my best to be reassuring. You worry too much. I know she'll be happy to see you. It's been too long, man. There's no way it hasn't been weighing on her. But I'll keep you company if that's what you need. And once you've gathered your courage, I'll leave so the three of you can be alone. I didn't ask you to come all this way to have you walk out. That'd be rude. Yeah, you and I know I won't really belong in that. It's a family thing. I'll keep you company until you feel safe, and then I'll find a reason to excuse myself. That's non-negotiable. Shoichi reaches up for my hand, grabbing the back of it and lifting it from his shoulder. He gently brings my hand to his face, pressing his cheek against my palm. Thanks, you. I love you. Of course, no problem. This is really nice and all, but... We're public, man. What if someone looks our way? Shit, no, I can't panic right now. If I panic, then he'll panic, and I'll be too much of a panic for us to deal with without panicking. Did I use the word panic too much right now? Is it all right for me to panic over that? Oh god, what is my mind doing to me? Man, you look so frazzled right now. I'm having a hard time not laughing. Shut up, I'm embarrassed, okay? Shoichi places a hand on top of my head, gently ruffling my fur and running his fingers through it with a bright smile on his face. You really are my rock, you. Hope I'll be able to be the same for you when you need me to. That's some really embarrassing stuff you're casually spouting there, buddy. You bring it out of me. Nothing I can do about it. I certainly don't plan on hiding it either. Come on. I'm feeling a bit better now, and we're not too far from the house either way. Better do it before I lose courage again. Is that something that could actually happen? It comes and goes in waves. That's the frustrating part. It doesn't take all too long to finally reach our destination. I hadn't walked this particular path for a few years now, not since Shoichi moved away from the house. The whole thing brings me a sense of nostalgia that I can't quite describe. This time I make sure to walk side by side with Shoichi, not letting him walk ahead of me anymore. I shoot him a few sideways glances on the way, seeing a look on his face that makes me wonder if he's being swallowed up by the same sense of nostalgia that I'm feeling. Or is it maybe dread? I certainly hope it isn't. Eventually we reach the front door. I see a small wooden board that reads Hayashida. Shuichi's eyes follow my gaze, and as soon as they fall upon the board, his face scrunches up. I guess it makes sense, he mutters quietly to himself, placing a hand on his chest and taking a deep breath. My brain races to try and come up with comforting words to say, but no matter what I do, I can't find them. The sound of hurried steps echoes from the other side, racing to the door and unlocking it. Ah! He looks cute in that jacket. Swinging open the door, Hitoka appears on the other side, a huge grin on her face as her eyes fall on the two of us. Hey! Oh, Yuichi-kun, you're here too! Hitoka, Shh! She brings a finger to her lips, giddily interrupting Shoichi before breaking into giggles. Hitoka, who's at the door? Just something I ordered, Mom. The girl shouts back inside once a female voice calls her from somewhere within the house, barely holding her laughter. You didn't. I wanted it to be a surprise. Be quiet. Hito. I said shush. Shoichi soon acquiesces to his sister's whims, a scene that is already all too familiar by now. Come on, let's head inside, quietly. Aww. It's Mamacita. As soon as we step in through the entrance hall, we're hit by a wave of cool, dry air rushing in from the living room. I take a few seconds to look around, seeing just how much of this is the exact same as last time I've been here. A pleasant smell wafts in from the kitchen, a mix of familiar spices, chicken, and rice. Hitoka had probably been cooking before when we rang the doorbell. No wonder she rushed to get to the door first. And then, sitting at an armchair with a book atop her lap, was a figure I didn't even realize how much I'd come to miss over the past few years. Her figure still is just as I remember, if only slightly rounder now than she was before. Like both of her children, who inherited their father's fur pattern, Sachiko-san's fur is of a deep, almost fiery red. Her eyes, however, have the same vibrant green hue I've grown used to seeing almost every day. As soon as his gaze falls on her, Shoichi covers his mouth with his hand. His wide eyes focus solely on his mother, faint droplets forming in their corners. Oh. Sachiko-san continues to read, unaware of the sudden presence of two people that hadn't been inside the household until just a few moments earlier. Mom, there's someone here to meet with you. Who is... Sachiko-san looks up from her book, freezing as soon as she sees us. Her eyes fall upon Shoichi, slowly going wide as realization begins to sink in, her mouth hanging agape. Hitoka's previous mischievous grin slowly flattens across her face, her eyelids slowly sinking as she stares down at the ground with only the tiniest hint of a smile on her face. Shoichi? She gets up from her chair, taking slow, hesitant steps towards the three of us. Her expression shows me nothing other than utter surprise, leaving me completely incapable of telling how she's feeling other than shocked. She stops once she is standing just a few inches away from her son, who now easily towers over her. The older husky looks him up and down, her unmistakable green eyes twinkling even brighter than usual with the moist, glossy reflection of tears wanting to form. The shock on her face slowly subsides, taken over by a gentle, matronly smile. Reaching up with her hand, Sachiko-san places a hand on Shoichi's cheek, who has not moved at all even now. You've grown so much. Those words, barely even a whisper, spoken warmly and from the heart, are enough to finally disarm Shoichi. He wraps his arms around his mother, pulling her into a tight hug and leaning down to rest his chin on her shoulder. Yeah. A part of me really does feel like I shouldn't be here. This isn't the sort of thing an unrelated person should be in the middle of. But Shoichi's asked me to be here. For some reason he wants my support. There's no way I could ever refuse him that. Have you been good? Are you healthy? It's been way too long. Sachiko-san pulls away, holding her son's face in her hands and looking him fondly in the eyes, wiping the tears on his eyes with her thumbs. Shoichi laughs, placing a hand on top of her head and pulling her closer once again to kiss her forehead. Have I been healthy? That's such a mom thing to ask. You really have your priorities straight, don't you?
It's my job to look out for you.
Her words caused the smile on Shoichi's face to falter for a brief second, almost completely unnoticeable. In fact, if I hadn't gotten used to watching him closely since we started dating, it probably would have flied right past me. I'm sorry I didn't come see you sooner.
You've been dealing with a lot, haven't you?
Shoichi's silence probably speaks louder than any words he can come up with. Sachiko-san shakes her head sideways, sighing. She's always been well put together, quickly recomposing herself and steadying her breathing. The smile, however, never leaves her face. She turns to me, placing a hand on my shoulder and smiling fondly.
What about you, Yuichi-kun? It's been so strange not having you around all the time anymore. Have you been well?
I have. Yeah, I'm sorry for intruding on your reunion, ma'am.
Don't be silly. I've missed you just as much. You're a part of my life for years. You're already like a son to me. I've been getting frequent updates on you and Shoichi from Hitoka, but it's not really the same as having you around.
She reaches out with her hand, gently stroking my chin with her index finger and thumb. The sudden gesture of affection causes me to blush slightly, wanting to turn my face away, but being unable to do so. Wait, from Hitoka? Hitoka pulls her phone out of her pocket, playfully wagging it next to her face with a grin.
Aki-kun keeps me updated. I just pass the information along.
Ah, I see. I guess those two really keep in touch a lot more than I thought. Jeez, I can't believe you've been going through that much trouble.
Maybe if a certain someone texted me and talked to me more often, I wouldn't have to.
Noted.
Come here, sit. Tell me what's been going on with you, please.
Sachiko-san ushers us to the couch before going back to her chair, with Shoichi taking the middle seat and Hitoka sitting onto his left. That leads to the only seat closest to Sachiko-san's armchair vacant for me.
How have you been? Are you doing well in school? Are you still getting along with your friends?
Mom, what's with these questions? They're such stereotypical mom questions to ask. Sachiko-san laughs, her voice carrying through the room. It's a bubbly, cheerful, nostalgic sound that diffuses any tense feelings inside of me. I spent so much time in this house over the years. Even though Sachiko-san was always busy with her shifts at the hospital, she was still a really frequent presence in my life. She also helped a lot with Aki when my mom was too busy to come home, especially in the years right after Dad's passing when we first moved here.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm just having a hard time containing myself. I'm so happy to see you two again after so long.
I know. I'm excited to meet you too. I was so worried about coming here. I ended up dragging Yuichi along with me for moral support. The elder husky hums in amusement, turning her gentle green eyes toward me.
Thank you for being there for him, Yuichi-kun. You have no idea how much that means to me.
Of course, ma'am. I wouldn't have it any other way. Shoichi reaches up, briefly running his fingers on the top of my head to show his appreciation.
But tell me, Shoichi, why did you stay away for so long? You rejected all my attempts to reach out, and did I do something wrong?
Her voice cracks noticeably. Sachiko-san takes multiple breaks to breathe and recomposes herself as she speaks, trying to get her voice under control.
Ma.
Of course not. You never did anything. It was all me. I felt really guilty for the longest time. Yuichi often tried to urge me to meet you again, to talk to both of you. I'm the one who had a hard time accepting it. Then again, Yu has always been a real family man. Family first and all that. It's not at all surprising that he'd be the one pushing me along. In the middle of his speech, I notice a small slip-up when Shoichi calls me Yu in front of his family. A brief sense of panic wells up on the pit of my stomach while I look around nervously, looking for any sign that they noticed. However, they both seem far too focused on the rest of his words to even give it a second thought.
I did tell you lots of times to visit.
I know. I'm sorry. It took a lot of his nagging to get me to finally work up the courage. I'm sorry it took so long. Sachiko-san leaned forward on her chair, her brows furrowed as she examined Shoichi's face with trembling lips.
Why would you ever feel guilty, baby? You had nothing to do with anything that happened.
But, Mom, I chose to go with Dad. I had my reasons, but still, I did something that hurt you. There was a lot I should have told you. That I really wanted to stay with you. That I felt like I had to go with that I saw... Shoichi bit his lip, leaving his sentence unfinished. Sachiko-san watches impatiently for a few moments, waiting to see if he'd finish the words left unsaid. It became clear he wouldn't. She smiled again, reaching forward and stretching herself to place a hand on Shoichi's knee.
You have nothing to feel guilty for. All I want is to have my son around again. None of those other things matter to me.
Shoichi fidgets next to me, his entire body shivering. He tries to speak in between shaky breaths, clutching his fist in his lap. Mom! feel an urge to say I told you so, although that would be seriously inappropriate right now. I'll make sure to keep any and all gloating for later. That should make it better.
Now, come on, tell me more. What have you been up to for the past few years? What's been going on in your life? I want to know everything.
Well, there's been a lot. We might be here for a while. A lot of it is boring, too.
I don't mind, baby. I just want to hear your voice. Talk to me.
Shoichi nods, humming under his breath and leaning forward on his seat, his tail curling around behind him and brushing up against my legs, nestling itself there. Let's see. Oh, I became a student council president on my freshman year of school. That's pretty neat, right? My biggest pitch was trying to increase funding for the school festival, which I've managed to do by... Shoichi begins to fill her in, telling her about most of the things that have been happening lately or that happened in the past. He goes all the way back to our first year of high school, telling her about even the most mundane things. How he became the captain of the volleyball team, how they rose to become a powerhouse school in the prefecture, how high his grades have been, the friends he's made. Can't help but laugh at it a few times when he snarls playfully while dramatizing his recounts on how much Kaken had been an annoyance to him. Despite his seemingly venomous words, however, he has a wide smile on his face the whole time, laughing along as he tells both girls about their constant bickering. Oh, and there was this one time where the guy wanted to go to a library on her day off. Like, we're all together as a group, wanting to do something fun together, and he suggests a library? The whole time he kept arguing with me and bitching about how he didn't like cherry blossoms, blah blah blah. It's like he feels the need to disagree with me just on principle. To be fair, that one goes both ways. You're the same way around him. I guess that's true. He's really fun to tease and rile up. Sachiko-san laughs, covering her mouth with both of her hands as to not show her teeth.
He sounds like a good friend to you. I'm glad you met someone you like so much.
Huh, who says I like him? I can't stand the guy.
It certainly doesn't sound like it.
Maybe a little. I guess he can't hide how much love he has for the hair, even when he tries his best to. Those two definitely have a weird friendship dynamic going on, that much is for sure.
I'm surprised. The one time I met him, he seemed really meek and quiet. He barely even said a word when I was around.
Oh, I can clarify that one. That's because you're terrifying.
But I'm not. I'm small and cute and adorable.
You're about as small and cute as a raging bull trampling over unaware pedestrians in Spain.
Hey!
Hitoka pouts, punching her brother on the shoulder and sulking at the corner of her seat.
Jiko-san chuckles, playfully slapping Shuichi's knee. Honey, don't compare your sister to a raging bull.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, and I guess this brings us to this year, right? Well, there's this new guy that transferred to our school at the start of the year. He's this bubbly tiger who plays the piano. Oh, hello, thumbnail. You are amazing looking. Oh my god. This thumbnail looks incredible. Oh, this is perfect. Guys, what should I do? Should I save the thumbnail for the next video? Nah, I think this is the perfect time for it. This is wonderful. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right here. I got to get ready for work. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, leave a super thanks, or tip if you can, it always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!